Okay, Gabby, it's time.
Time for what?
Revenge.
Revenge on me or the producers?
Both.
Good luck.
Welcome to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm your host, Owen DeWeese.
And I'm Gabby Kramer, the one who never shows up for writers' rooms.
Hey, you're finally admitting it.
You literally wrote that into my script. What do you mean? I have improv during writers' rooms.
That just shows a lack of dedication for the show. May I remind you, you're a co-host of Ball State's premier entertainment news show.
Yeah, it's premiere. That's why I'm on here.
It's only premiere when me and Kat write the scripts.
Excuse me, it's also premiere when I write the scripts.
You wouldn't know much about premiere, miss. I have improv's so great.
Will you stop saying premiere? You're driving me crazy.
It's not very premiere of you to say.
Oh my God, shut up.
Fair enough. Looks like it's time to premiere our first segment. Take it away, Nathan.
Hello, I'm Nathan Hill, and welcome to Something for Nothing, the segment in which I teach you about places where you can find movies, games, and entertainment for free. Today's topic is NBC's Peacock, a streaming service which marks the first on the show. Out of the 3 previous services I previously featured on the show, I've only been able to recommend them with bated breath, having to wade through mountains of direct-to-DVD awfulness to find something, anything worth watching. Peacock, however, is the single greatest free streaming service on the market today. Is what I would be saying if there wasn't one major catch that we'll get to later. I remember how expansive the advertising campaign was for this service when it came out. And by that I mean the same damn advertisement wouldn't stop pestering me when I was trying to watch YouTube. The main selling point of the service, both back then and arguably still today, was that it's the official streaming home of The Office, thanks to NBC yanking it off Netflix and uploading it onto Peacock a day apart. All 9 seasons are accounted for here, in addition to exclusive never-before-seen footage. Sister show Parks and Recreation is all featured in full, as is the early 2000s cult classic sitcom 30 Rock and modern-day cult classic sitcom Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Fans of British entertainment won't be disappointed either, as the service hosts prestigious dramas like Downton Abbey the movie, Downton Abbey the series, and Mr. Bean's Holiday. Law & Order spin-offs, Special Victims Unit, Criminal Intent, and Organized Crime are here, as is Saturday Night Live, Top Chef and its spin-offs, and the seemingly endless supply of Real Housewives series. Dwight's almighty Battlestar Galactica also enjoys quite the presence on the service, to the excitement of all Gen X sci-fi geeks and the shrugged shoulders of all Gen Z sci-fi geeks. The service holds the best film catalog we've seen to date. The original Back to the Future trilogy, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy, Animal House, The Blues Brothers, Billy Madison, and Happy Gilmore, and nearly every DreamWorks and Illumination film you could think of, although Shrek was apparently above the service's pay grade. Classic TV fans won't go unsatisfied either. 50s fans will enjoy Alfred Hitchcock Presents, perhaps the only black and white horror anthology that could give the original Twilight Zone a run for its money. 70s fans will get a click out of Columbo, a series about a homicide detective played by Peter Falk, whose gruff, confident performance has attracted a whole new generation of fans in online spaces. And 80s fans will enjoy 21 Jump Street. Yes, the series that spawned that 21 Jump Street nearly 3 decades later. And even as someone who doesn't care about them, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the service's healthy library of sports and WWE coverage, so there you are. So what's the problem here? The service blows the others we've seen out of the water in terms of its quantity of quality. With thousands of hours of quality TV and movies ready for binging. Well, hypothetical whinger, the catch is that you can only stream about 25% of each show on the free feed, and you'll either have to pony up $5 a month to see everything, or $10 a month to see everything without ads. So much content here is hidden behind a paywall that adds up fast. In addition to the shows and movies I've listed, the service also houses the original Law & Order series, the entire catalog of Harry Potter films, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, and so much more behind this paywall. Even with this folly, though, the sheer quantity of series on the service means that while you may be missing out on the best seasons of The Office, which only goes up to its first 2 seasons on the free feed, you can just as easily move on to Saved by the Bell or any other show once you've exhausted your supply. You also still get the complete experience of watching the free movies on the service. I'm amazed that Back to the Future films especially aren't hidden behind the paywall. It's disappointing, but it's still a pretty good streaming service for what it costs, which is free. It's like the old adage goes, spread by mountain men sat atop of the tallest mountains in faraway lands. I'm Nathan Hill, and you get what you pay for.
Great job, Nathan. So, Owen, I feel like I've never asked you this before. How are you?
That's a tricky question.
Actually, it's not really that complicated of a question. How are things at home?
The dorm's great. I absolutely love having 6 fire alarms in 2 weeks. What's not to love about being in the cold and rain at 9:30 at night?
Sounds like dorm life is treating you well.
I guess you could say that. You get what you pay for. How about you, Gab?
I'm great. I actually just moved into a new place.
Really? What's it like?
Well, it's really cramped, and there's not a lot of room for decorating, and it gets pretty darn cold, and it's under an overpass, but at least I don't have a roommate.
What? Say that again?
I don't have any roommates?
No. Before that.
It's cold? I don't know what you're getting at here, man.
Do you live in a cardboard box or something?
Well, would you look at the time? It's time for another segment.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily and I'm back finally with another news segment. Today I'm going to talk about Travis Scott and what took place at the concert if you're not already aware. Travis Scott performed at the Astroworld Festival at the NRG Park in Houston, Texas. Astroworld is a music festival founded by Travis Scott and is held in Houston. On Friday, November 5th, the date of Travis Scott's performance, the crowd was so tightly packed that when fans were pushed towards the stage, they were crushed to the point where they could not breathe and passed out. Travis Scott's performance started around 9 p.m., and officials say they got their first reports of injuries around 9:30 p.m. There's a video from the concert's live stream that shows him looking into the crowd, showing apparent confusion when an ambulance pulled out in the crowd but continued to perform. The crowd was chanting, "Stop the show," as chaos broke out, but Travis Scott went against the chant and showed no emotion to the chant. A total of 8 people died at the concert and dozens were injured and some in critical condition. Videos show that Travis Scott did not care that people were dying, being trampled, and fainting. He was just worried about himself and raging. Videos show that he continued to perform when dead bodies were being crowd surfed. Travis Scott has been charged before in 2017 with inciting a riot. A lot of people believe that he knew what was going on but did not care. I hope that everyone that is at fault for this tragedy has consequences. This is not okay. That is all for me. Catch you next time.
Thank you for that lovely segment. But back to the matter at hand. Do you live in a box?
Well, that depends. In a lot of places, it's considered a luxury studio apartment. It's about the same size as a dorm, give or take, or a few, give or take.
Well, glad we settled that. I'm sorry to hear about that, Gabby.
At least I don't have fire alarms keeping me up all hours of the night. Besides, you literally made all of that up because you don't know if I live on or off campus.
What do you mean? You literally just said all that.
Who was at writer's room this week? Who gets to decide what I say? Oh yeah, the writers. Even this line has been written out for me. It's pretty Orwellian if you ask me.
You said my name wrong. It's Owen.
You didn't write Owen, you wrote Orwellian.
I think I would remember if I spelled my name wrong, Gab.
I don't even know who George Orwell is.
It really seems like you do. You just said his full name.
Because it's part of the script and I'm reading it on the prompter.
I don't know why we brought this up. I can't remember why I thought of it at writer's room.
Before he drives me any crazier, let's pass the show on to our next segment.
How's it going, guys? So for this week, I'm talking about something else. So sorry to anyone that was expecting another Drew Goes to the Movies. I promise it'll come back in no time. For this week, though, I want to talk about something other than movies, video games. Well, not exactly video games, but a new show on Netflix that is inspired from a video game. Last week was a premiere for the all-new Netflix series Arcane. This show is set in the video game world known as League of Legends, which I play a lot of. I would say I've played close to around 100 hours this last year and a half alone. So when I heard that Riot Games were producing their very first series and their idea of making a League of Legends cinematic universe, I got really excited about watching this one. The premise of Arcane follows 2 League of Legends champions, Vi and Jinx. The show follows these two sisters before they became the champions that we know and have played as in Summoner's Rift. These two characters, who are much younger when we first meet them, live in the underground of a city called Piltover. The city is split into two sections. Those that are much more wealthy and live a more stable life live in Piltover, while those less fortunate, like Vi and Jinx, live in the underground slums known as Zon. There they live, scraping money just to get by in life. Piltover is a place called the City of Progress, where people from all over Runeterra come to find a better and brighter future for themselves, and in hopes of continuing the progress of the city. The story starts as Vi and Jinx, who used to be called Powder when she was a much younger girl, as well as two of their friends execute a heist in the city above, where they live. They steal various items that can help ensure a comfortable future for their families, but later get caught and begin to be chased by Piltover enforcers. While they continue to be chased down and brought to face justice, others are quickly beginning to find something that will potentially change not just the city of Piltover, but the entire world. A scientist by the name of Jace, who is another League of Legends champion, discovers the ability to fabricate magic with the help of some good old science. While some see this as being a great step for the city, others see the opposite, saying it will be more bad than do good for the city of Piltover. Tensions rise between the underground of Zon and the toplands of Piltover, as the two sides fight between petty crimes being committed and the possible revolutionary creation that is Hextech magic. The rivalry of these cities splits families and friends over time. While a lot of times video game adaptations being turned into movies do not really work, I think Arcane is something really special and honestly as good as it has ever gotten. The art style is so different but beautiful to look at compared to others' animation styles, and the acting performances done by everyone makes these fictional characters feel so real. As of right now though, the first arc is out of Netflix, being the first 3 of this 9-episode series. Here we see what Vi and Powder's lives were like before the War of the Cities took place, and the chemistry these two have together was honestly more gripping than most live-action movies and shows that I've seen today. Overall, I've thoroughly enjoyed Arcane so far, and I'm so excited to watch the rest of the show. Even if you've never played or heard of League of Legends and have no interest in playing it, you don't have to have any knowledge about this game before watching Arcane. The show serves as a prequel story before they became the champions that they are today. I would highly recommend Arcane to anyone who wants a short TV show that has beautiful animations, gripping characters, and even better story. I am so excited to see what stories Riot Games will tell after Arcane, and have high hopes that this is the first of many great shows to come. That is all the time I have with you this week. I'm Drew Schuler, and make sure to stay on the lookout for another Drew Goes to the Movies, and I will see you all next time.
Well, Gabby, it's about that time. We've talked about nothing for a few minutes, and now it's time for some final words.
There really needs to be more structure in these scripts.
Well, there used to be a structure, but then the Ghost Union decided to strike, and Kat's wrist is broken, so I pretty much wrote down what they said and just kind of added on top of it. I'll be amazed if no changes were made.
Stop being so meta. Take a script writing class or something.
That's not until next semester. I'm taking like 3 different writing classes. Maybe you should try taking a class on how to segue to your final word.
Yeah, okay, whatever. First off, I want to say that I know who George Orwell is, okay? He's the whole reason I went through my farm girl phase. Book was good, Snowball was my sexual awakening. Anyways, the media news world is still pretty boring this week, so why would I talk about that? Good question, I'm not gonna. This past week, I had the pleasure of getting to binge Steven Spielberg Presents Animaniacs. That is, of course, the reboot of Animaniacs that was released solely on Hulu, and that is the official name of the show. I Googled it. Now, I'm super late to this, seeing as the show was originally released in November of 2020, but I am late to a lot of things, so what's new? In the reboot of the 1990s cartoon, zany Warner siblings Yakko, Wacko, and Dot have returned and did not shy away from current topics. Rewatching the show just a year later led to a lot more laughs than I feel I would have had I watched the show in its current time. Weird how that works. Some things are just so bad that they only get to be funny with time. For example, Ariana Grande licking donuts. People at the time were talking about how awful it was for her to go in, take a bite, and leave. And fans were legit upset at her. I even remember thinking, girl, like, why? But now, come on, it's kind of funny. Girlie walked in, bit a donut, and left. That sounds like something I would dare my brother to do to get him in trouble. Almost as much trouble as the Animaniacs get into. Did you see that? The show is chock full of hijinks and bits that are very reminiscent to all my favorite musical cartoons. Having one now themed to issues and events that I'm aware of and living through adds an element that is so much more fun. I have always said how I miss musical cartoons, so seeing such a fun one come back has been a delight, and I highly suggest you watch it if you haven't yet. It's just cute, you know? And if you need Hulu, just ask Owen. He shares his password with everyone. Everyone on the whole crew uses his account, so.
It's my mom's account. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite TV shows today. My Name Is Earl aired from 2005 to 2009 with 4 seasons and 96 episodes, each being about 20 minutes with a couple like 30, 40-minute specials. The show follows Earl Hickey, played by Jason Lee, and his brother Randy, played by Ethan Suplee. Earl is a small-time criminal who, as he puts it, does nothing but bad things and then wonders why his life sucks. After winning a $100,000 lottery ticket, he immediately gets hit by a car, and while he's recovering in the hospital, his wife Joy divorces him, and he learns about karma from Carson Daly's talk show. He decides to make a list of everything bad he's done and make up for all of it. Early in the show, he thinks he can do everything on that list by himself. There's like 200 items, so it doesn't take very long for him to figure out that he needs help with a lot of it, and that's where his brother Randy comes in. Randy is a nice, childish guy who really just wants to help his brother however he can. That's the main idea, so here's just a handful of fun facts. Greg Garcia, the show's creator, first pitched the show to Fox Network, and they passed on it. About a year and a half later, executives at NBC got interested after reading the pilot script and decided to pick it up. Now, I couldn't find the budget of the show, but Big Chubby, a local business owner in the show, is played by legendary actor Burt Reynolds. And he is the father of Little Chubby, who is played by Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald often impersonated Burt Reynolds on Saturday Night Live and used the exact same clothing from his parodies on the show, which was an awesome nod to the classic Turd Ferguson sketches. Every time Earl's picture is taken, his eyes are closed. This is considered to be a nod to Forrest Gump, in which every picture of Forrest shows him with his eyes closed. Talking about the show is a little bit tricky because it's one of the few shows that you have to watch for yourself to get a true appreciation for. But it's on Hulu, so if you have that, there's no excuse to not watch it. It's one of the best and funniest shows you can watch, so if you can, you definitely should. If you want more from us here at The Real Deal, you can check out our Facebook, Twitter, and a website for all things entertainment. I'm your host, Owen DeWeese.
And I'm Gabby Kramer. See you next time on The Real Deal.